Okay, we're going to open the City of Chelsea Traffic and Parking Commission meeting. First item is going to be the public hearing regarding the approval of the removal of the stop sign at the top of Highland and Marlborough Street. Does anybody want to speak on that? Okay. Anyone have any comments?
Sorry, John, speak up, what was that?
Anybody have any comments on the removal of the stop sign, Highland Marlborough?
So similar to the feedback that we shared at the last meeting, from our department's perspective, there would be benefit for approving this request, given the incline of the hill coupled with the conditions during snowstorms, making it relatively treacherous for vehicles to come to a stop and then accelerate following the stop sign.
Okay, do we want to table this, or do you want to vote today?
I think we should vote on it, John.
Okay.
I make a motion to pass it.
So I
Okay.
second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, public hearing regarding the approval to make Clark Avenue a one-way street in the southwest direction between Stockton Street and Webster Avenue. Did you want to speak? Could you just sign in, please? Okay.
So I live on that street where Clark Ave road change is going to be directly affecting me. I live and work here in the city, and in order to get home, I take Webster Ave. Having to do that, I would have to take Webster Ave, go into Broadway, come back up Stockton, and then go down Clark in order to make it home. That significantly adds a lot of time to my commute, especially considering that I'm a teacher and I would be getting out as the schools are dismissing, rather than just being able to turn and make a left down my street. What I want is that it not be a one-way street, that it remain as a two-way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
So our department had performed an operations and safety analysis of the proposed conversion of the two-way street to a one-way street. Normally, when we look to convert a two-way street to a one-way street, we'll examine the crash data for evidence of specific types of crashes that are caused by streets being too narrow. Generally, those will be side swipes or parked vehicles being hit. In the instance of this segment of Clark Ave, we didn't note any anomalies or any high rate of crashes that could justify the proposal to convert this to a one-way. Similarly, we heard from other residents like yourself. We fielded 3 inquiries from residents that expressed concerns regarding the circulation impacts it would have on them, notably that it would increase the amount of travel time getting to and from their homes if it were to be converted. So with that, curious to hear other feedback from members of the committee. I think right now, from our department standpoint, we wouldn't vote to approve the conversion as it stands.
Anyone else have anything?
I'll speak for DPW, John, in my department. I would think, and I know I plow that street, coming up that street, if you turn that a one-way coming towards City Hall, let's say in that southwest direction, you'd come up to the top of that hill, and we already get it now, you can get, it's already tough to get up there when there's snow already there, so it's going to make it even tougher if it's a one-way. And it'll be just tougher to plow it, I think, too.
Okay. Does anyone want to make a motion, or do you want to table it for next meeting?
I make a motion to deny the request.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor of denying?
Aye.
Okay, public hearing regarding the approval of the daytime restriction of the residential parking program on Chestnut Street from 3rd to 4th Street. Is anyone here on this?
I'll speak on it, John. I believe the gentleman that come in was requesting something to change about parking because of lack of parking over there, but due to the construction of that next to the school that they're building, and once the construction stops there, there'll be less traffic there, so there should be more spots open. We did discuss about that section is only overnight resident parking, and so his motion was to push it to daytime restricted parking, which I think should happen because cars will park there and they can jump right on the bus, and jump right over the Tobin. So we got cars that park from out of the city, they'll park there and jump over the bridge and go to work and then return to their cars without having to pay for parking or look for parking or even commute themselves. So
We agree. If you go just a couple of blocks up, the segment of Chestnut Street north of this location is all-day resident parking only, given the fact that folks can park their vehicles and hop on the MBTA. So similarly, we would be supportive of converting the segment between 3rd and 4th Street to resident-only parking all day.
Okay. Does anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to pass it.
Second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, public hearing regarding the approval of posting no parking signs, eliminating 1 or 2 parking spaces at Carter and Vale Street. Is anyone here on this?
So this request pertains to the turning movement from Vale Street onto Carter Street. So if you're traversing Vale Street towards the city of Everett and you were to take a left turn onto Carter Street, right now the proponent highlights the fact that the parked cars immediately adjacent to the corner may obstruct trucks from making that turn. We've examined this in detail. We would see the benefit of eliminating at least 1 parking space on that corner to facilitate truck turning movements. Anything in excess of 1 parking space may be excessive given the limited parking availability, but we'd propose starting with 1 parking space, observing how it functions, and then potentially returning to adjust it as needed.
Okay. So would that be a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the posting of no parking signs to eliminate 1 parking space at the corner of Carter and Vale Street.
Okay. Anyone second? Second. Okay. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Communication of March 22nd from City Council requesting more clarification regarding adding a restrictive lane on Everett Avenue, southbound between Arlington Street and Route 1 on-ramp between 5 a.m. and 10 a.m. Monday through Friday.
So this petition was originally centered on temporarily converting the parking lane on Everett Ave between Arlington Street and the Route 1 on-ramp during morning rush hour to a traveling lane to alleviate some of the congestion that occurs there. After conversations with City Council, Council encouraged that the city continue engaging businesses on the proposed change, particularly because a lot of businesses rely on the on-street parking in that area. So we would propose tabling this to afford about another month to engage with additional businesses, collect more feedback, and then report back on a final recommendation.
Can I ask a question? Are you, because that is a traffic jam in the morning, are you talking about to get onto the Everett Street ramp?
Exactly, yep.
So are you also doing traffic study to see, because when they cut it down to 1 lane, it has a great impact?
Yeah, we're in the process right now of redesigning that entire intersection, so that includes a comprehensive traffic study.
No, okay.
Okay, so your motion was to table?
Motion to table, yes.
Okay. Anybody second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, communication of March 23rd from Councilor Recupero requesting the city manager and the commission to look into implementing handicap parking spaces in the business district on Broadway.
So presently, the downtown Broadway corridor from Bellingham Square to William Street lacks a sufficient number of handicap spaces. As part of the design of infrastructure improvements throughout the downtown, the city in the long term will be adding new handicap spaces once Broadway is fully reconstructed. However, there's still another 1 to 2 years before that project starts. So in the interim, we'll be working in conjunction with DPW to identify 4 to 5 locations along Broadway where spaces could be added in the short term, and we should have recommendations to present to the commission at their June meeting before breaking for summer recess. So I would make a motion to table this pending the outcome of that study.
Okay, anybody second? I'll second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Communication of March 31st from DPW Commissioner Kate Fox Lent requesting no parking signs on the east side of Charles Street between Marginal and Suffolk Street, and to add street sweeping signs to the west side of the street.
I'll speak on it, John. Yeah, so down at Charles Street, we recently put in new sidewalks, which weren't there previous, so there was no real parking down there. It was more of a, with the hides and furs there, it was more of a construction zone. So now with adding this, that's shortened the width of the street, so now it's tough, emergency vehicles would not be able to pass by there if there were cars parked on both sides.
Okay.
So in order to notify the people that they can or cannot park there, that's why we're recommending to put no parking signs on the, I think it's on the Hides and Furs side, on the side where the trailer is now, and then on the other side, just to have resident parking.
Was there no parking there before?
There wasn't no parking there before, there's just no sidewalks, and people just parked there,
okay.
yeah. There was no signage to tell you whether or not there was or wasn't.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, communication, April 19th, from the Director of Facilities, Joseph F. Cooney III, requesting the approval to shut down a portion of Shirtliff Street from Central to Congress Ave for their one-day ELC Spirit Day on June 14th from 8:30 a.m. to 2:45 p.m.
So the commission fields this request each year for the annual Spirit Day event. Closing that segment of the road will allow for an event to occur safely without any risks posed to students by traffic. So generally speaking, in the past, it's been very well managed. The temporary closure hasn't significantly impacted the neighborhood, and school department staff remain on site to oversee and manage the area. So we have no issue approving this request.
Anybody second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Communication of April 20th from Acting City Manager Ned Keefe with the Innis Development Team requesting a modified on-street parking program during the construction of the Innis residential project.
Not sure how good a record you have of what's being proposed, so that's a full color set.
Thank you. So this plan was previously approved, or the former iteration of this plan was previously approved by the commission earlier this spring in order to facilitate the redevelopment of the Innis Public Housing Complex. In discussions with the neighborhood, in conjunction with the Corcoran Company, Chelsea Housing Authority, and the city, along with the Housing Authority and Corcoran, have revisited this plan in order to maximize on-street parking that could be available throughout the duration of construction. So right now, the plan that was previously approved calls for the temporary loss of parking along Watts Street throughout the duration of the remaining project. That's to allow primarily trucks entering the site, the necessary roadway width to make the turning movements in and out of the site. The revised plan that's before you portrays the modification of adding 15 spaces of on-street parking that would be highlighted here in red, which would allow for some but not all of the neighborhood parking to be retained throughout this course of the project.
How many spots are there now, Alex? Do we know?
So there's about 36, about a little over 45 spots there right now.
So you're gonna lose them, but it's just temporarily till the...
Correct, till the end of the project, till 2020, end of 2025, yeah.
And how many spaces are in the garage again?
So the garage has, I believe, about 270 spaces
And so
total.
roughly,
roughly.
how do they get a special ticket to go in there, or was?
So
Is it-
once the garage is open, the Housing Authority and Corcoran have committed to allowing neighborhood residents to park in that garage. So they would be looking at some type of ticket or placard system in order to access it. But they haven't worked out all the details yet.
And when is the garage opening?
So right now they're projecting the end of this calendar year.
Okay.
So originally it was slated to open at the end of the summer. It got shifted back slightly.
Anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Okay.
I'll
Anyone second?
Yep.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, communication April 25th from Roy Bloom requesting additional signage and bollards in the Beacon Street area to deter trailers from traveling outside of the truck route and for public safety.
Yeah, that's me. Hi, thanks. This is on behalf of the folks in Beacon Street, specifically on 133, 131, 133 Beacon Street, the corner, notoriously known by now. First, would like to thank to Kate Fox and Janet Cintron for starting to take this more seriously. We definitely see some progress since I moved to that block the 2020. So we see more signs, anti-truck signs, I call them. We requested previously that the sign would be in plain English, because it looks like these folks coming from, some of them from the West Coast, out of state definitely, have no idea what they see. They don't know how to read the signs. So now we have finally this March, something in English. To me, it reads pretty plain and simple. Don't go right, don't go left, go straight. Yet we have some outlaw or neglecting drivers, truckers, taking the left. They have nothing to look at the right, obviously. All the Exxon or wherever they go in the industrial area is to the left, and their GPS suggests to them to cut the traffic light. So then it's really a matter of their focus and how much they dedicate for their time and GPS and factoring the traffic signs that suggest otherwise. I could say now I'm working a bit at home. At least four of them, truckers, I could call neglecting truckers or outlaw truckers, you know what I mean? They do take the left and running down Beacon and then Mulberry. We hear because at the 19th of April, we had yet again a case scenario where one of these outlaws crashed. He took the turn. What was hit and run, definitely. I just happened to have my shoes, so I chased them down to Williams, called the cops, they took it from there. Previously, these outlaws, as far as we know, were just noted to reverse up the street. I don't know if anyone forced it really. Now, we said we blessed, obviously, the fact that we have a plain English traffic sign right off the Tobin ramp. But this should be supplemented with fine warning, we think, at least $500. And this should be enforced, meaning periodically, anytime incidents like this happen, they should be enforced and should be fined. This is first. The activity done by Kate, actually prior to Kate, Lou,
Mamelette.
Thanks. They installed 2 bollards. I was hoping for 3 right at the corner, but we had 2. I checked them, they were very solid to any of our cars, but a 20-ton trucker just smashed them this past 2 weeks. Completely wasted it, rushed through it, crashing another vehicle. None of ours, it's just like a random person that parked there and shouldn't be, you know. And yeah, this is something that happens every day. Won't point a finger here towards anyone specifically, but this has been like this for years and years. One word: neglection. We're getting better, but we should solve it. So first of all, we see up at the 69 Beacon, we see a cassette of very nice bollards. They seem to be effective against 20-ton wheelers. we should have something like this in the corner. So that was, okay, if we go on bullets, so the first bullet was the fines. Fines should be added to the signs. Signs, in my opinion, should be all the way down the ramp. Before they taking the right off the Tobin, they should see already multiple signs telling them do not take the left. Now, there is a small sign saying continue here trackway or track pass down at Chestnut, hardly seen, very small. At the time I made a whole leaflet like this with suggestion how to improve this. Very small one, I don't know if they see it. If they don't see the one in English, they must be blind. So definitely the $500 is a minimum for finding. Now,
You want more signs, that's what you're...
we need
you're
more
trying-
signs.
Okay.
We need fines on the
Okay.
signs, fine warnings. We need bollards that are the same like the ones at 69 Beacon Street
Okay.
at the corner. Another idea that was coming up there, which I think is a fabulous idea, is actually going to solve just everything. Because until we implement what I'm going to say, they will have always the shortcut in their GPS. If they're following their GPS, they will always try to cut. And even with the fines, we will have 4 outlaws a day. And obviously, we have kids in the streets, and
Okay.
we have this building that was crashed once, all the second floor fell.
So what's the idea?
The third bullet would be to revert the traffic. And this came from Kate Fox, one of her communications. You're reverting the traffic all in Pine, Mulberry, and Beacon, meaning you flip it. This is currently a one-way street. You flip it, you have no traffic here, no trucks. They will have nothing to look up there. So their only choice would be going down Chestnut. And this will eliminate this choice, this option from anyone's GPS, because it would be against the traffic. We
Okay.
conclude this, we thought about it, and we thought, okay, there might be a bottleneck as you taking the left. Everyone would then have to take the left into competing with everyone coming down from the bridge. But we do have, what do you call it, brainwaves. This is the little path going up to Admiral Hill
Yep.
as a second exit. So definitely doable. Seems
Okay, so you're proposing more signage, bollards, and reversing Beacon Street the one-way.
that this
Can
way.
All right.
Can I ask a question? I thought trucks were not supposed to be going down the Beacon Street ramp.
They're
Is
not.
that correct?
They're not.
And have we reached out to the state to have them put up signs up on, because the sign on at the Beacon Street ramp is about this big, and it's across the way.
It's been an ongoing battle
There's signage there, but it's not
forever.
very good.
Yeah, I mean, because the ramp is a state ramp, is that correct?
That's
And
correct,
so
yeah.
we wouldn't be able to
The
put
width restriction.
signs there unless we talk to the state and push that.
Absolutely.
Because my understanding is that they're not supposed to be going down the ramp,
Trucks over 2.5
Yeah.
tons, yep, that's correct.
so.
So you're understanding they're not even supposed to go down the ramp?
Nope.
I heard it from multiple people actually. So
Yeah, I mean, as he said, there's a certain,
But unfortunately, we can't enforce that because the sign's coming off the bridge. We can enforce that. What I meant to say was, we can't put signage on the bridge itself without speaking to the state.
but, yeah, we could probably push, maybe
And it's-
revisit with the state.
Exactly.
And get better signage at the top. And
At the
considering all the stuff they've been doing to us recently in the city,
Absolutely.
that maybe one of their solutions is to give us real signs.
Absolutely. And, the former city manager was engaged with the state frequently on this issue, so I do appreciate you raising it with us. So we can certainly commit to, engaging with Mass DOT, requesting signage further up the ramp. On the bollards, we'll confer with the DPW commissioner to see if those are feasible in that location and be able to report back at the next commission meeting about whether those are viable. And then lastly, on the matter of fines, because fines are regulated by state law, the city doesn't have the ability to set fines at specific amounts. However, we would be open to working with DPW to post the state fines in a visible location. So we'll also speak with our DPW commissioner about taking that on. So we'll be able to report back more comprehensively at the next meeting, but I appreciate you bringing it up.
That's a first-class case of safety. Not
Absolutely.
convenient, nothing. We are here not for convenient.
Absolutely.
We like everything, but it's safety. So if suddenly someone is, you have kids in this street.
Absolutely.
Reverting the direction. This is something that should be looked at, and it would be the easiest. And this
It
is
wouldn't be the
something-
easiest, that would have to go to a public hearing as well, but to be quite honest, if you want to come up Mulberry in a snowstorm, we've had cars go down, that's why the Jersey barriers are across the street, because when a car comes down in the snow, he slides across the street, the Jersey barrier stops. If you're coming up that hill, you'll have cars stuck going up that hill all day long.
What do you have?
Coming up Mulberry is a hill. If you come off of William Street and take the right and go up Mulberry, if you reverse direction on Beacon Street, you make it a one-way towards the off-ramp. You have to come up that steep hill at Mulberry Street, and it's a dangerous curve. You wouldn't be able to make it.
No one will take this besides the people living in the streets.
Well, if you make it a one-way, it's going to be accessible for anybody that wants to go up.
Of course, but no one has any interest to use the street. That's the point.
Well, if it's a one-way going that way, the fire department, plows, any emergency vehicles, they all have
I'm
to.
saying, right now, this is an exit off the Tobin. It's a cut. It's a shortcut. If you revert it, no one has anything to look up at this area. Nothing. They have nothing to look there.
You're talking about reverting Beacon Street from a
Beacon
one-way
Street.
from Mulberry to Chestnut.
Exactly.
But if they did that, people can access Chestnut Street from Mulberry and go around that light. People would use that all day long. Because it's a cut-through. Now, if you notice, the traffic light at Chestnut sometimes backs up down William Street almost to Mulberry Street. So people would come up Mulberry Street and cut around that. So it would be used quite heavily. You'd see a lot more traffic in there that way. A lot more.
You'll have no one using it up Mulberry and Beacon.
Either way, we'd have to send that to like a public hearing, but, I don't know if
The-
you
I would
consider
say
it no.
if you make Beacon the other way, one way, you would have to do reverse Mulberry as well, so that
Yeah.
you can access
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Or you would have a street you can't access from either side, so.
You're going to revert Mulberry and Beacon
You would
and
have to
Pine.
reverse both, is what he's saying.
And Pine.
That presents issues as well.
Yeah, there's more issues there, I think, than, and you talk about now, if you're having one or two trucks occasionally coming down the street and causing traffic, if you reverse that direction of the traffic, due to the light traffic there, you would have 50 cars, 100 cars more than you have right now going through that neighborhood.
How do you reckon that?
Because it cuts through the light. So right now, if you come up and you stop at Mulberry Street because the light has got traffic all the way up to Chestnut Street, you can take a right and a left up Pine Street, and I can come out on Chestnut Street, and I miss all that traffic.
But you won't have any heavy traffic, heavy vehicles. That's
You won't
my
have heavy
point.
vehicles. No, correct, no.
That-
You won't. You might not have any trucks, but you'll have more. You'll have more smaller vehicles coming in. A lot more. It'll be a lot busier.
But they were not going to crash any of our
No,
corner,
but
the kids.
but we also don't want
That's
to
the
put
point.
that. We don't want that street to burden any more traffic than it already has.
But that's the point. Yeah.
I make a motion just to table it now. We'll discuss like what Alex said. We'll see what we can do to add more signs and to make it more aware for everyone.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Communication of April 25th from DPW Commissioner Kate Fox Lent on behalf of resident Linda Dude requesting a speed bump on Pine Street to help reduce speeds. Is anyone here on this? Is speeding a factor on Pine Street, though?
I don't have knowledge of this.
Yeah.
I'm passing on a message from a resident who reported as being legally blind and unable to easily submit this request herself. But her feeling is that they're unsafe speeds. Possibly, as was being discussed, people are using Pine Street to cut through right now. Whereas if we switch directions, it would be Beacon Street.
Would it be possible to obtain any enforcement data for Pine Street, if there have been any instances of speeding?
I don't think there's anything on Pine Street, you know.
I do want to say, we just received 4 speed radar signs that I do believe track data now. Is that right, Kate? I believe they do. We just received them in last week. So that's possible, we could add one of those to that street and then get the readings from
Could
that.
we put a,
possibly.
like, do they have like a blind person sign?
I believe we already have we put up, I believe, 2 slow children signs up there, but we do have there is a blind person sign.
I mean, that might help too, if,
Right.
but yeah, I don't think speed is a factor on Pine Street, you know.
I'm sure someone speeds by there, but I
Yeah.
don't think it's a widespread
No.
issue. But I think either one of those 2 signs,
Yeah.
signs like you said, or even putting that radar sign and checking some of the data on it would help.
Okay.
Okay. So I'd make a motion then to adopt the signage as well as the temporary speed radar sign.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, handicap sign application, April 25th, from Ana Orellana de Aguilar of 115 Clark Avenue. There is one handicap sign at 108 Clark, and there's one over at the Clark Ave School.
The Clark Ave School. Thank you.
So 108's on the other side. The one at the school is down, it's way down, that's not even near that one.
Yeah. So overall, the application that was submitted was complete. There's a letter here from the property owner attesting that there isn't any off-street parking available to the applicant. Make a motion to approve this request.
Anybody second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, anyone have anything else? No?
Minutes to table,
I believe so.
official, the minutes,
You have to approve the minutes?
official vote for tabling?
Oh, we have to table the approval of the minutes from April 4th, and we'll make a motion on that.
I make a motion to table.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Official. Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.